Hey, so welcome back to The Buzz with Bernadette. Today we're coming to you from the stunning Active Wellness Spa in East Victoria Park. And this year we're diving deep into empowering women on the podcast. And today's guest is the definition of a woman building life on her own terms. She's a powerhouse creator here in Perth and a face you see everywhere on the Perth scene. Please welcome Rebecca Rose.
Oh, thank you. What a wonderful introduction.
Aww.
I barely even knew it was me you were talking about.
It's very well deserved. Very well deserved. So let's talk to you about, look, everyone, most of us here in Perth, if you have flicked through Instagram, social media, TikTok, we know your face. We've seen you on socials. But how do you describe what you do?
Well, I like to do everything that's creative. I initially started out as a writer, but I've branched out a lot since then and do some things within the fashion scene. Yeah. So I'm still finding myself even at the age of 37. And so I'm still discovering more and more things that I like. But yeah, I would just say a whole lot of things within the creative sphere. Yeah. Anything that fills my cup and that I'm passionate about. And that can really vary so much.
That's right, because I have seen you now recently doing like modelling, and I've seen you have a few ambassadorships with some different brands. So it's so wonderful in the creative space how we can just go down any path that sort of suits us at that time.
It's like the rabbit hole with Alice in Wonderland. Like, I just feel like you can go further and further down that rabbit hole. And I think that we do have the beautiful opportunity in 2026, especially with Instagram, to find so many different things that we are interested in and to really fully discover who we are. Instagram connects you to people all around the world, all these different sorts of opportunities that you may not have even known anything about previously. And yeah, it opens up the entire world to you.
Such a network and a community. It's actually so fantastic. And I've just watched you grow in the last 3 or 4 years and I guess it's one of those things as well, like whatever is resonating with you, you put more time and effort into, and then you get more of those opportunities. Would you agree?
Yeah. I feel like in the beginning, I didn't even know that I was so passionate about fashion. And I really was leaning hard into my background of writing. And as time went on, people were saying to me that they really felt that fashion was something that I was really leaning into a lot and that they felt that I was good at. So I think that as time went on, I began to realise more and more how passionate I am about fashion. I think that although it might seem trivial, fashion is a way in which we can bring beauty and self-expression to the world. And I think that that's actually a really powerful and worthwhile thing, to be honest. I mean, I see people a lot of the time that are maybe not the happiest, and they'll see me dressed up and it actually brings them joy. So
I agree. I mean, look, today you've come in beautiful gold sparkles. You're actually really resonating autumn today, I feel like. But it's also funny to think like we might not see those things in ourselves, like we might not think we're that into fashion, but then people see us and go, no, this is absolutely you. So it's really nice to be open to like what other people's opinions are and how they perceive us as well. So, yes, I think that's very interesting. And that's the good thing about when you are on socials, people do get to see a lot of you. And, it's very interesting. Now, with your journey as a creator or a creative, when was the sort of moment when you realised, oh, like I'm starting to get invites, things are changing, like I'm kind of making it onto the Perth social scene?
I don't know, because I saw in the pre-notes you were saying like your moment of making it in the Perth scene, and I was like, oh, I've made it. This is news to me. But no,
I'm a true modest lady.
I think as creative people, there is always that insecurity of feeling that we are expendable, and so I don't know if we truly ever feel that we've made it. But I will say that as time goes on, that you do start to notice that you are able to have opportunities that are more meaningful to you, that you're more passionate about, and the opportunities are flowing in more. And you do start to notice, okay, like I'm getting more traction, I'm getting more noticed, you know, I'm getting more opportunities. And so, you know, I think a fair while ago, you know, that started to happen more and more, that, you know, getting more invites and getting more exposure.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it was like probably a few years ago that started to snowball. But the funny thing was that prior to that, I was being invited to different things, and I would say no to very many because I lacked in confidence. So I feel like in a way, once I gave myself permission to kind of be the person that I'd always wanted to be, that's when everything fell into line.
Wow, that's so interesting. So then there wasn't really one viral video that made everything. It was more like a progression of when you felt comfortable and when you allowed yourself to start experiencing different events and going out to different things that had actually really happened for you. It's very interesting.
I've never had a viral video. I don't really care for virality. Normally going viral is not a good thing. It's usually about infection or illness or something.
Yes.
So to me, I have always been of the opinion, when I first started my page, well, early on, I kind of felt like I wanted it to be like a virtual art gallery. Like I wanted it to be something that, you know, I was proud of and that felt more artistic and that people could enjoy more. So I really wasn't worried about virality. I was worried about creating art. And yeah, like again, I just feel like once because so often, and I don't know if this is the case with you, I don't know if you've ever felt that you're unworthy and so you've said no to things or you've pulled back on things, but I feel like it happens with so many people that we are the instigators of holding back our progress.
We can be our own worst enemies, that's for sure. But going back to virality, like it is something that is very short-lived anyway. So for anyone who has gone viral, it is something that's here today, gone tomorrow. So I think it's very interesting, especially in the world we're living in today, that you always saw your page as something like a piece of art or something like that you can enjoy over time. And you can see that through your photos. They have a certain aesthetic to them, and they are so beautiful to look at. So, and you can see that because you get a consistent, you've got a very good community as well that loves to support your photos, but you get a very consistent sort of amount of comments, likes and support on your photos, which has been great. Has it always been that way, or has that been something that's slowly built over the last few years?
I've been very fortunate that my experience on Instagram has been largely positive. I've been really lucky that I have, from fairly earlier on, like really had some people come and support me who, you know, it just means the world to me. And it's been really genuine support. Again, it's not virality. It's not like this horse falling down is hilarious. It's sort of like genuine, ongoing. I think you and I are probably more concerned with longevity instead of virality. And yeah, I've had people on Instagram all around the world who have been so supportive and so kind that I feel like they've been kinder than family members in some ways. Like they've offered to, if I've been going through a difficult time, they've been, oh, you can come and stay at this, you know, place that I own up in the country, or all kinds of things in which they've been supportive.
Yeah, it's a wonderful, it's a wonderful when you open yourself up and the community responds in a way like that. So now, so the way that your aesthetic is on Instagram, number one, how would you describe that aesthetic? And then how much of what we see of the Rebecca on Instagram is what we see in real life?
Okay, so how would I describe my aesthetic? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I know, because I love it. I'm a big fan.
Oh, thanks. I always say like it's poverty chic or something, which basically is like when you're poor, you kind of try to be very resourceful and make good use of what you've got, which I do love a good poverty chic. No, but I mean,
stunning.
To be frank with you, I am very ADHD in my aesthetic, but obviously there's a lot of pin-up in there. I grew up, my grandmother was probably my biggest style icon because she was, but she was of the era where you matched, where you matched your handbag to your shoes and all that sort of thing, which nowadays is just people don't care for.
Yeah.
But I learned that. Well, you're very much.
We try.
Yes, we do. I still, if I wear different shoes to a different handbag, I still feel it's sacrilegious.
Oops. Yeah. Done the wrong thing.
But yeah, so she was my biggest style icon. So I've got a lot of different bits and pieces in there, and you know, I've had like steampunk influence, Disney, cosplay, just so many.
I do find it all ties in so well, though. The way you do it, like it actually ties in really well. Like you can see that it's all part of the same story. Like it looks really nice.
Someone said I'm like Chapel Roan and Amy Winehouse had a baby, and I thought that was amazing.
Oh my God, so true.
But to answer your second question, because I'm just rambling.
No, not at all. You are.
Sorry.
So the second question, and how much of the Rebecca Rose we see on Instagram is like the one we see in real life?
Okay, well,
are they two different people, or
it's the same. When I'm not doing events, or like I'm just at home, I'm just with my husband and with my cat, then I try not to have makeup on, the hair done, because I like to give my face a rest. So then I'll be in my pajamas and I'll look like a hobo.
Well, I say I've only got two looks.
Yes. I'm
really dressed up.
I'm either like royalty or like a hobo. But then I would say that it's still me. I'm still true to myself. But that being said, my house is not fancy. My life is not fancy. A lot of times a lot of people probably think my life is glamorous, but a lot of times it's just cleaning the cat litter or you've got
I can relate.
So very glamorous chore to do.
We got to do what we got to do.
And then it's like catching up on the housework, answering emails, and just responding to emails and responding to messages takes up so much time. So yes, you're going to events and things like that, and that is truly me. That is authentically me. But at the same time, I am also authentically me when I am doing the daily grind that you just have to do. So it's not that I'm not being myself. It's just that obviously I'm not going to wear a ball gown to clean the cat.
That's right, exactly. And isn't it so nice that we can go to events, be glamorous, and then we've got to come home, put the dressing gown on and do the chores as well.
And take the bra off.
And take the bra off. And can I also say, I've seen you in makeup artist videos where you've gone from, you know, no makeup, clean skin to the beautiful glam look. And you look absolutely stunning with no makeup on.
Oh, thanks.
Like, it's just because I've only ever seen you with the full glam, and you actually don't look much different without makeup. You look much young, you look young and fresh and vibrant.
Okay. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
No, but
it's stunning. It's actually. Do you think you'd ever try that aesthetic or that look
for an event?
Yeah,
like
for an
I
event.
have the. You mean have the hair done and no makeup and the ball gown?
Oh yeah, or just a natural clean girl aesthetic type thing.
Clean girl aesthetic.
Yeah, which probably takes a lot longer to do than this, to be honest. The clean girl aesthetic is hard.
I hear clean girl aesthetic and I just get triggered. No.
Yeah, I know.
No, I would love to do that one day. But like you said, I feel like even the very pared back aesthetic is not very pared back, and sometimes
it's a lot.
I just got out of bed like this actually takes 2 hours.
It takes so long, and it's actually a lot of work to look natural. I find this is a lot easier to do. I feel like the full glam is easier. So for people that think content creation is easy and it's just a bunch of taking photos, you know, it's simple. What's the unglamorous side of content creation, would you say?
I would say most of it, because you not only, like, a lot of times even when we've been to particular things, we have to make it look good, but there have been things we've been to that are not as great as we make them out to be. So just obviously being a doctor, being a surgeon, something like that, undoubtedly way harder, and you have to have qualifications. So I'm definitely not saying that, but being a content creator is really difficult. You've got people who go, oh, your life is so glamorous, I want to
how do I get
sort
into
of commandeer that for myself and just copy and paste that. And so next thing you know, they've kind of taken over. You know, you've constantly got people, it's almost a little bit, and I know people don't mean it this way, but it's almost a little bit patronising, because people are always going, oh, how did you get that? How did you do that? And there's almost the implication of, well, it's so easy, I can do that myself.
100%.
Which makes me think, well, why ask me then? Why not just do it yourself?
Yeah, if it is easy, then but they don't see, I guess, the behind the scenes. They don't see how many years you've been doing it, or and
the reputation you've built, because you can do anything, and you can do content creation, and content creation is not necessarily inherently difficult. Like any job is not necessarily inherently difficult, because you can do it and do it. Like any job, you can do absolutely terribly. So jobs don't have to be difficult if you're a terrible person and you don't care. But if you do care and you want to put a lot of effort into it, build a reputation, have integrity, have longevity, etc., then it's very difficult, because we put hours and hours in. I've seen you around, like, I feel like I'm probably correct in saying that we get early to things.
Yes. We do.
We give way more time than we are supposed to give.
It's interesting, isn't it? Even for events, for example, I know we get there earlier. We take our content earlier. Some people actually turn up on the night, and then they probably don't even really post about the event. So what they give back is probably quite minimal compared to people who've been in the industry a long time, what they would give back. Because there's an understanding there, you know, especially like you know, even if you think of the value of some of the things that you get or the opportunities that you get, and you sort of think, okay, well, these tickets maybe perhaps were $200 each, and you sort of think, well, I definitely want to give that value back to the client or PR company, etc. So I think it is, but I think people don't see all the editing that goes on behind the scenes. Hours.
I do a lot of editing.
Yeah, the captions, So I know, and definitely with your photos, they've been done to a T perfectly.
Thanks.
And you can see the consistency in them is seamless. So. Yeah, and do you think as well with consistency, like would you be posting every day, or are you posting sort of a certain number, or do you just see how it goes in regards to what events you've got on that week?
I see how it goes. I'm not one of those people who will post just to keep getting traction. I kind of feel like if I'm going to post something that's really bad, I'd rather not post at all.
Yeah.
I would rather post when I feel that I have something of worth to post. Now, I do kind of end up sabotaging myself in that way as well, because a lot of people are quite comfortable. Like I've seen recently with people saying if you post 3 times a day, you'll get lots of followers and so on and so forth. And I think, as we were talking about, if you don't care about quality or you don't care about what you're doing, it probably would get me more followers and get me more attention to be posting consistently and more frequently. But I wouldn't feel proud of what I was doing. And ultimately, I've had posts before that I wasn't very proud of, and I just deleted them because I just felt like I'm not happy with this. It maybe even got a decent amount of engagement, but if I don't like it, then I will just delete it.
Yeah, that's good to know, because that means you're actually staying true to yourself and you're only putting things out that you're proud of. Because, 3 times a day. I guess we could just post a little 5-second video 3 times a day, and if that's going to get more followers, I guess the majority of people are going to do that. But, I think you've got to, because if you're not enjoying something, then it's not worth doing anymore. So I think you're very correct in thinking it's got to be something I really believe in, and I've got to look back and be proud of what I've produced as well. Okay, now you've you've created this beautiful life. How long, well, actually tell me how long you have been on Instagram for. When did you first start?
Because it could have been.
It came out in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Probably maybe like 2018 or something, but when I first started, I really wasn't sure what I was going to be doing. I started Instagram because my now husband and my mum kept saying, you should have a blog, you should have an Instagram, you should have something. And I was like, I'm way too boring for that. And they kept sort of bullying me. And so eventually I said,
persuading.
Eventually I went, okay, I'll do it. So I did it. And then when I first started, because I hated photos of myself, which is ironic, and I didn't have a lot of confidence, so I started out with makeup, flat lays. I would just have my kitchen bench, and I had very few resources. I had a terrible phone at that time, and I would just get pieces of cardboard, and my mum had a lot of craft supplies, so I would get all these craft supplies and get some makeup products, and I just started doing makeup flat lays. And that's how I started.
Flat lays were huge at that time.
They were.
They really were. And did you do any makeup tutorials as well?
No, I was too lacking in confidence at that point. And I would very occasionally have a picture of me, and it would never be a full body, it was just, And I started to realise when I did occasionally post photos of me that they did a lot better. So I thought, well, you know, I'm not an idiot. Like, I might as well work smarter, not work harder.
Yeah, that's right.
So I thought, you know, and I'm not saying I'm marvellous, but, you know, people do like to have a face to connect to. I think it's more engaging,
so
generally speaking, than, say, a makeup flat lay, seeing it on a person. And so I started going, okay, well, I'll give the people what they want.
That's right, exactly. And how long did it take you then to do, like, speaking to camera? Because that, for all of us, was such a big thing. Hardly anyone was doing it unless you were a YouTuber. And then all of a sudden on Instagram, it was like, okay, we all had to do speaking to camera, go live. And then, I mean, look at us now. We're here today on a podcast. But how long did it take you to get that confidence up to speak on camera?
Well, I don't know how long you've been on Instagram, but I think from seeing some of your posts, it's been a fair while. And when Instagram first started, it was photos only.
Yes.
So there were no videos.
Correct.
So you could not have speaking.
Yeah.
And I did like that.
Yes.
Because getting the confidence to even be in a photo was a lot. So when they changed to Reels, I was like, oh, no, now people can see more of me. This is terrible.
I know.
Plus, I did not have the skills because I was like, I've just kind of gotten the hang of photos. Now I have to master videos. I'm not like a videographer.
Yeah.
And so... Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. What was the question?
So when did you get the courage to speak on camera, like speak to camera on Instagram?
Yes, so it took a really long time. When I first started doing the videos, I was just showing my outfit. I would just have a song. I think that at that point, speaking to camera was not as common. It did start to get more and more common. And Instagram started to try and compete with TikTok and that kind of thing. So as more and more videos became almost YouTube-like, almost TikTok-like, because they're all competing.
That's right.
I did start to do, after quite a long time, because Carolyn from Rag Pop-Up got me to do one or two videos, and she said, you should do more speaking because
I agree with her.
And I was like,
because when I did hear one of your first speaking, I believe it was your first speaking to camera video, I was like, wow, you are so well spoken, and you know, your the way you talk is beautiful. So yes, you should definitely be doing more speaking to camera. So yeah, it's definitely maybe 2026, 2027, we'll see it go down that path.
It's still hard though, don't you think? Like, do you still, because I don't do it that often, but do you still find it hard, the speaking?
I actually enjoy speaking to camera and I enjoy presenting. And you know what they say, if it feels like it's cringe, just do it anyway.
Yeah, you have to. Okay, that's a big piece of advice from me.
Yeah.
Feel the cringe and do it anyway, because that's the only way to get better at things.
It's true.
Is to push through that, because how else are you going to improve unless you go through the really awkward, terrible stage?
Nobody starts up here. Like, everybody starts at a certain level, and then you just...
I was always fabulous.
Well, that's right. You were always fabulous. So it was good. You got encouragement from your mum and your now husband to go on. Now, so tell us, like, so let's talk about the young Rebecca. Did she envisage this life for herself? And tell us a little bit about your childhood as well.
Yes, well, my mum said, because my mum knew I was doing this, she said, you need to tell this story of when I was Princess Jasmine, because I was very into fashion and very into creative things as a child. And I was so committed to the aesthetic that I didn't have pierced ears, and she super glued beads onto my ears for Princess Jasmine. And at the end of the day, we had to remove them using nail polish remover, which was very painful. But I was like, as long as the aesthetic is amazing, I don't care.
But that's actually really smart. And you do see people do that today when they do like little fake jewels. Yeah, it's because of you.
I was ahead of my time all the time.
Gosh, we found something out amazing on the podcast today. You are a fashion icon. So you were quite creative in your childhood. So any influences in your childhood that helped you? Where do you get your creativity from?
I grew up being quite the bookworm, and I really was voraciously reading all the time, and I think that reading really influenced me. One of my first creative things I liked doing was writing, like I've said, and so I would just inhabit these fantasy worlds, and I really think that shaped my life. I think I was really disappointed by how mundane real life was.
Yeah.
And I wanted the world to be as beautiful and fantastical and magical as what I was reading. And I sort of felt like, well, if I can't actually inhabit those worlds, maybe I can create a little bit of that in the real world and make the real world a little more magical.
That sounds perfect. Yeah, I think books really give us that escapism that we sometimes need. So, yeah, and you can see through your Instagram now that you have created a very magical world actually, which is beautiful. So I guess, books gave you that sort of escapism that you needed. Did you have a happy childhood?
Parts of it were good, but as you're aware, and as I was like really passionate to talk about today, something that I do feel very strongly about that emanated from my childhood is domestic and family violence. So sorry to get a little deep and meaningful here. Yeah. But I just feel like as much as I love fashion and creative pursuits, I do want to do things that are really meaningful to me as well with my platform. And I grew up with a abusive father who was physically, mentally and emotionally abusive to my mother, and, emotionally and verbally abusive to my siblings and I. And now I talk about that a lot because I know how many women, of course men as well, but unfortunately predominantly women, that domestic violence and family violence impacts, and I want to inform people more, I want to educate people more, and I want to do something sort of meaningful with my platform, I guess. Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's creating awareness around a topic that can be quite taboo, and a lot of women don't feel comfortable speaking about it. And I think, like you say, if you can use your platform for that as well, and then perhaps even, sometimes women just need to hear it from someone that they're looking up to, that there's even a safe place to go or to tell somebody. So I guess, would you be looking at taking on like any roles if they come your way in speaking or doing talks about your journey? And maybe tell us a little bit more as well, like how did you break free from that sort of, and when did you feel comfortable speaking about it?
Yeah, I would love to take on more of a role. I know that unfortunately it can be a taboo topic, but if you'd give me one moment.
We're going to get some statistics.
So basically, unfortunately, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 14 men have experienced violence by an intimate partner since the age of 15. So that's almost like a quarter of women.
Wow.
So if you see a group of 4 women, 1 in 4. And also, where's my other statistic?
It's actually quite crazy to think.
In 2022 to 23, 1 woman was killed every 11 days by a current or former partner.
That is scary.
So this is a topic that unfortunately is really, really important.
Yeah.
I spent years in it because something that people don't understand is that when you are a child in a family violence situation, it's actually very common, and I know this sounds odd, it's very common to stay at home much longer than the ordinary person because your confidence has been so demolished. So people might think, and there are a lot of people who do get out of that situation very early. They might leave home at 16 or something like that. But there's also a lot of people who have become codependent on their abuser, trauma bonded.
Yes, that's a big thing.
That sort of thing. And so it's actually very common for the children in these situations to live at home longer than other healthy situations. And as a result, it's even harder sometimes for them to get out as they are abused more and more in that toxic situation more and more. But what happened with me was that I began to find out information, and information empowered me.
Yes.
I began to find out that the cycle of abuse, and I began to find out that all of these things were unfortunately, like, I was very uninformed, even when I was younger, these sorts of things were not talked about nearly as much as they are now.
Yeah.
And so I didn't realise that the cycle of abuse is such that the person is not abusive all of the time. There will be a period where they are love bombing you, where they seem wonderful, they are giving you potentially gifts, they're complimenting you, blah, blah, blah. There'll be a time where, the blow up, and then there's also the time after the blow up where things are calm for a while. There's different stages of the cycle. And so if you're not informed, you think, this person's improving, this person says they'll never do it again, this person does love me, this person is giving me gifts, this person is being kind to me. But once you become educated and once you become informed, you are empowered because you realise that this person isn't going to change. And unfortunately, the statistics say that it's actually very rare. I think I don't have the statistic on this, but I think it's only like 3% of people end up changing. And so once you find that out, you realise, okay, I'm not going to continue to wait for this person to change. And if they are kind to me, it's just another part of that cycle, and then the cycle will repeat itself. And so once you learn that, you are able to get yourself out of that cycle.
Of it. So then would you get out when the person is on the good part of the cycle? Oh, geez.
Well, I would say for other people, because my situation's different, for other people, I would definitely say you need to get professionals involved because the most dangerous time is when you leave.
Yes.
So absolutely do not leave without getting professional insight. Although, the good part is probably a better part to get out. But again, you must get professional help. For me personally, I started to be emotionally emancipated before I was physically, because I started to identify stuff. And although I wasn't able to leave at that point financially and a whole lot of other reasons, I was emotionally recognising the manipulation. I wasn't falling for it anymore. I wasn't feeling distraught. Because another thing that my dad did was that he would threaten me physically, but he would also use emotional manipulation. And I think once I really started to identify that, I was able to be emotionally and mentally freed from that before I was physically free
good.
of the
And how did you get your information? Did you research yourself, or you started
Yeah. Sorry, it's just okay. This is going to sound funny.
Yeah.
When I had forgotten about this, one of the ways in which I started to realise, and I shouldn't laugh, but one of the ways in which I started to realise was that I would listen to true crime podcasts, and I started to realise I would say, oh, this person does such and such, and there's this abuse cycle and this and that, because a lot of these true crime podcasts are quite informative.
Yeah.
And I started going, oh, hang on a minute.
Sounds familiar.
This abuse cycle, this behaviour. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on here, but my dad had a gun in the house.
Wow.
And the incidents of fatality in domestic violence situations with a gun in the house, I can't remember exactly, it probably goes up like 700% or something like that. So
how scary for a child, though.
That was when I was older, but yeah, I would say that I saw a lot of parallels in true crime. Now, that is not where I would suggest people get their information, but that was what got the seed going.
There was just like a turning point for you.
But in general, if people want information, obviously there's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of websites. You do want to go to probably government websites, more reputable sort of websites, but there's so many things out there. There's resources for women, there's financial help for women, because financially it is so difficult, as well as emotionally, as well as physically.
Well, these abusive people know what they're doing, so I think if they can take away any bit of empowerment that you have, whether it be financial or your friend group, slowly you'll see they slowly start to take your friends and distance you from people. They don't want you to work, etc., so that then they can dominate and be successful in what they're doing. So in that, essentially, they take away your power. But so did this go on your whole childhood, and when did you finally see sort of the light at the end of the tunnel? Like, when did you break free from this abusive situation?
It went on my whole childhood, but...
So he was always like that?
Yes, he was always violent. He was violent in his previous relationships. He was violent from an early age.
Wow.
And that just goes to show as well that unfortunately it's very rare that people change. So of course we all want to believe that it's possible, but don't stay in an abusive relationship saying the person will change. Now, it went on my entire childhood, and I was in my 20s still living at home. I'd had a breakdown at the age of 17. I had debilitating mental illness. I had a lot of health issues. I was experiencing hair loss, all kinds of stuff from this chronic abuse. Financially, I was in a really bad way. I'd never dated. I'd never had a relationship. I rarely left the house because I'd become agoraphobic. And so it completely shattered my life. But I am now hope to people, because I had to pick myself up from having absolutely nothing and not really having a support network, because my mum is amazing, but she was still in that abusive situation. So, I had to pick myself up from that, and I've been able to kind of try to rebuild my life. But again, it was probably in my, I don't know, even later on in my 20s, that I started to realise I literally had been brainwashed, and I literally thought a lot of times I was the problem.
Yeah.
And it was when I started to realise about manipulation and about bullying and about a whole bunch of other different things that I started to realize I wasn't the problem. And once I started to have that little breakthrough, I was then able to learn more, inform myself more. And I said to my mum, I've come across this cycle of abuse, and I've come across stuff about narcissists and about abuse in general and about a whole bunch of other stuff. And she was like, oh, show me. And she was pretty, because she always thought he was going to change as well. And that's why,
Well, you're so in it that you can't see. And once you get that glimmer of hope, or that little bit of, like you said, knowledge is power, and then you get outside that circle, that bubble, just a little bit, just enough to see what you've been experiencing, then honestly, I think once you start seeing clearly, it's just a whole new world. So it's so good that you did. So did you continue then? So what sort of just work did you do on yourself from your mid to late 20s to kind of help? You probably went through a phase where you were in realisation mode, but then also, like, at some point I'm assuming you tried to, no, I'm going to work on myself, and
absolutely,
I'm not the problem.
Well, I just have to point out as well that this was all helped by the fact that I got a restraining order against my dad. So I was able to have that physical distance that I didn't have to worry about him coming and bothering me. So if you can also have that, that's very important.
Yeah.
But as to improving myself, empowering myself, I went through therapy. I've done some, which I would very much recommend. I've done some group therapy, which is very evidence-based, and it was almost like a TAFE course, and that was on different subjects, anxiety and depression and a whole bunch of other things. I think that therapy is so important for learning skills and tools and having someone to talk to. But I also feel that if you are learning and you're open to bettering yourself, not that in a way, but we all have to better ourselves.
We all.
And
daily.
I think that if you're open to that, then you can do self-work. You can just go and research things and find out a lot of psychological reasons why we do the things we do, and then you can empower yourself because you know, okay, now I know what I'm doing and I know how I can fix it, and that it is fixable.
I think that's really important, just knowing that that's not the end of it. You're not a victim. Like, there is, work you can do. You can talk to people and we can build on, and it creates, honestly, your story, who you are today. But you can keep, and we all need to work on ourselves on a daily basis. I've always been a big believer of learning something new, improving myself. We're just not meant to stay where we're at today. So that's so important. And just as a matter of curiosity, has he tried to come back into your life at any point, or?
Not since the restraining order. Before the restraining order, he did. And I just want to say to your previous point, if you think you don't need to improve, you're probably the reason other people are in therapy.
Yes, that is exactly right.
So the people who say, no, I don't need to go to therapy, they're probably the reason why other people are in it.
Need to go.
But with my dad trying to get back in contact, he did before the restraining order, and there's been some sort of little things since the restraining order because my sister unfortunately wasn't able to get one, but my brother, my mum and I all have them, so he's not able, but my husband does not have one. So if he sees my husband around, he will yell out hello to him or try to talk to
contact
him
in some way.
So
I don't know, with a restraining order, can you get one that's longer than a certain time period, or I don't know
Yes.
how they work.
So this is the wonderful thing for me, was that I don't remember how long they usually are. Maybe they're a year or 3 years.
I imagine they were a year, but I could be wrong.
So basically, when I applied for the first one, that was granted, and then a certain amount of time had passed. Maybe it was a year, I can't remember. We went to renew our restraining order, and we all went in at the same time. We actually thought, now this was terrifying. I think that the person can also appear at the same time. So we were very on edge because someone said, oh, it looks like your dad is here. So I was petrified. Now, I don't know, maybe that was a good thing, because when we went in there, we were very suitably upset. But we had a wonderful judge who I thought initially was not going to grant me the restraining order. She actually said that she felt that we should be given a 10-year restraining order, and I
Fantastic.
pretty much cried, because 10 years is just
It's a relief.
amazing.
Yeah.
And it's very strange, but the amount of relief that gives you, and the amount of validation you get from having a 10-year restraining order.
Yeah.
So I guess there are longer ones.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't imagine
breathe.
it's very common to
Yes.
get given a 10-year restraining order.
Oh, that's actually so validating. So, all right. So, I've got lost now.
I'm so sorry.
I got lost in my questions. So I guess that's going to lead me into, we're going to move into now you being an empowered woman, because, you know, honestly, I think going through hardships ends up making us stronger in the end. So for you, what does a truly empowered woman look like to you in 2026?
Ta-da!
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I think you're a great empowered woman, but I think that being an empowered woman in any era is, well, I was sort of saying this to my mum, like, being empowered is not a committee decision. You basically have to stop worrying what other people think about you. I mean,
100%.
to an extent, because we're always going to worry. And you have to give you permission to yourself to be empowered, because there are always going to be people who don't like you, who don't feel that you're deserving, who think that you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. And I'm sure you've got detractors. And so you basically just have to say, well, it doesn't matter what other people think, especially as a woman, because it's harder as a woman to get certain opportunities anyway. I think you have to give yourself permission to be empowered, because if you don't do that, it really doesn't matter what other people think.
Exactly.
You know, I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt that said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So, yeah, we basically have to give ourselves permission.
That is so true. That's so true. And if you could sit across from younger Rebecca now, what's the one thing you would whisper to her?
I know this wasn't my fault, but don't wear socks with sandals, because that was... No. I know that
I thought we were going to go deep there.
No.
But she's quite a comedian at the same time.
Well, okay, I would probably say to be kinder to myself and to believe in myself more, because... and probably to believe my intuition more. Yeah, I think that would be being kinder to myself, because we're all our own worst critics.
Yeah, we're all self-critical, that's for sure. Do you have like a quote or a mantra that you like to say to yourself on a daily basis?
other than don't wear socks.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Okay. I have a lot of quotes that I love. One of them is by Audrey Hepburn, and it says, "Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible." So I love that.
Oh,
because,
that's fantastic. I love that you actually know quotes.
Yeah, growing
yeah.
up with books.
Bookworm.
And so, yeah.
And what is the big dream for Rebecca Rose in the next 12 months?
I honestly don't know. I would love for the next 12 months to end up far better than I could have even imagined. Because sometimes when you dream, you sort of think, I think I've been a bit self-limiting with dreams.
Yes.
And again, it comes back to criticism. And so I've started thinking, why not, here's another quote, is it something like, why not aim for the moon even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking, why don't I just dream really big? And one thing I've always loved the thought of as well is like being asked to travel as a content creator. Like, I don't know, like I also want to branch out into different things. I love so many creative avenues. I would like to do acting, and I would like to do, if I had the skills and the resources and stuff, I'd love to do like little miniature movies, because sometimes I see vintage creators and they have those little advertisements, but they feel like a little miniature movie, and I just love that. It's so nostalgic, it's so beautiful. It's like creating something that's beautiful rather than just viral. So
well, I saw your recent shoot that was in the style of Wes Anderson.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That looked amazing.
Oh, thanks.
So, and it was just on point. So when you talk about, even when you talk about a dream, you're putting it into existence. And all the motivational material I've watched says just go rogue with your dreams. Like as if it's totally possible. Because I've been very self-limiting as well. I go, I won't ask for that because I just better just ask for that. And it's like, but why? Just if you're not going to get it, or even if you are going to get it, wouldn't you have preferred that you asked for the top?
And what if you do get it?
And what if you do?
And then it's not being, I think sometimes there's also the fear of like, well, I'm not being very humble, but it's not saying, oh, I must have this. It's just saying, with everything that's possible in the world, then, why not dream really, really big? And again, if you get far further down the chain, you might even get more than you initially hoped for.
That's right.
And why not? I mean, there's so many people out there who've I don't
oh, I know. I know what you're going to say.
Reality TV, there's people who get to achieve their wildest dreams, and they're not always necessarily deserving. So there's people out there who get things through committing crimes. They become infamous and they get opportunities. So I'm probably no less deserving than they are.
100%. Like you said earlier, give yourself permission. And there we go. We're halfway there. But I have a very important last question.
Yeah.
And that is, what are Rebecca Rose's favourite apps to use for the gram?
Okay.
Only the ones you want to indulge. I know you may have some secrets in there, but we're all interested to know.
No, I'm not going to gatekeep. Obviously, do you use CapCut?
Yes.
Yes, obviously CapCut's a big one. There's Facetune and Face App. And then is it Lightroom?
Oh, yeah, Lightroom. Yeah.
So basically what I like to do is that, obviously, and I am not secretive about this. Like, I do smooth out my face, that kind of thing. Like, it's no
but I think you do it in a way that it's like, we know you're doing. It's not like
I think it makes the photo look more professional and polished. So to me, it's not necessarily a vanity thing. It's that, like, I want the image to look like a edited photo rather than just, this came straight out of my camera.
That's right.
So I will do the face smoothing and whatnot, but I will also do like clarity or, people think editing is just about editing to make yourself look better, but a lot of it is brightness, it's shadows, it's exposure, it's
like sharpness,
clarity, highlights,
warmth,
black
yes,
point.
the black point,
And so what other apps I'm trying to think of which ones are my favorites. There's also Light Leap, and I will use features from different ones.
Yes.
And I also find with Lightroom, I think it's good for the general editing of images.
Yeah.
And I find I think it's Light Leap, you can do face smoothing and face glow and whatnot, and I find that the face glow and face details makes your face pop a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because you don't want your face to just blend in with the background.
Sometimes you want the subject to come forward a bit. Yeah.
And sometimes I will also amplify my makeup so that I'm standing out more.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to just, I really want the subject to pop. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were talking off camera before about how there's so many subscriptions. So it's and like you said, one app does this, the other one does that. There's not one app that does everything. So it's we've got subscriptions all over the place.
Oh, and Canva as well.
Canva.
I love Canva.
Yes, Canva's nice.
I think those are my favourites.
Yeah. That's good. Yes, I think we're on the and I hear you with the same, I love a vivid photo, and that's why I'm very drawn to your photos, because I love a richness. I don't like to see a grey washed out. That's not really my thing unless it's a black and white photo. But so I just love, I think your editing is on point. Did you learn everything on the go, or did you?
Well, I was actually, again, ahead of my time. I was editing phone photos years before other people were, just for fun.
Yeah.
And I started finding these apps and so on. And at that point, my health wasn't the greatest, so I couldn't do a lot of things. And so I thought, well, photo editing is something I can do that's not very demanding.
Yeah.
And so, I started doing it years ago. And so then when it became in vogue, I was like, oh, excuse me.
Just another skill I've got.
Even the editing in little things like Canva, where it's a collage and it's cute and you put these cute little stickers, I was like, I was doing this years ago. And what I think happens as well is that because I'm doing it a few years before everyone else, then by the time it becomes popular, maybe I'm not doing it as much, and so I miss that moment of becoming successful from it.
Exactly.
And everyone's like, oh, you followed the trend. I'm like, no, I was doing it well before.
It's hard as well when you're ahead of the trend, because then you don't catch it and you don't, people think you're not doing it at the right time, but you're like, no, I actually did it before, sorry.
But with the editing, my grandfather was a photographer, but I will say that if people are interested in content creation, I just taught myself things, and I think you need to always look at a photo and see if it looks right, because I edit every photo differently. I don't just blanket edit. Because every photo...
You don't save your preset.
Because the reason why is because every photo is different. So one photo, it might be a very grey day. One photo, it could be really, there's way too much brightness.
Yes.
And if I just blanket edit, then photos aren't going to look right.
No, exactly. And that was going to be, for anyone wanting to come into the content space, which does seem to be highly saturated at the moment, the content creative space. But, so there are, what advice would you give them?
Don't know. No. It's for me. No.
It's just for us too. But if you were thinking,
if you were thinking of it, I would. If you're joining it late in the game, it's never impossible. If you want to do it, it's different. If you want to do it for fun or if you want to do it for income. If you want to do it for income, it is difficult at this late a juncture. but it's not impossible. If you have something unique, then that will stand you in better stead, because if you're just doing the same thing everyone else is doing, then you'll just blend into them. But, you know, it's still definitely possible. So just try and make sure that you do stand out and that you're providing something of value.
That's right.
That people will be drawn to. Again, you don't want to just blend in. But if you're doing it for fun or because you're passionate about it, then I would absolutely say, what does it matter? Because if you're passionate about it and you enjoy it, then by all means do it.
Exactly. I completely agree. Okay, well, I think that just about wraps it up for today. Rebecca, thank you so much for being incredibly raw with us today. You're proof that empowerment just isn't a destination. It's a choice we make every day, and we can improve every day. To everyone watching, a huge thank you to Active Wellness Spa here in Vic Park. How aesthetically beautiful is this place? Thank you to them for letting us record in this gorgeous, peaceful, serene space today. And to everyone watching and listening at home, remember, your highlight reel is coming, but don't be afraid of the construction phase. How's that for a quote for you? So keep finding your buzz, and we're going to see you next time. Thank you.